It's episode 80. How's it going, everybody? Episode 80 smells like Wrasslin. Dynamite post show. Also, I guess Summerslam post show. Right? I feel like I don't even remember when Summerslam was. It feels like it just happened. Did I miss it? I did miss it, right? We didn't do a collision. Yeah, because it was SummerSlam. That's right, it was Saturday. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. Let's go with we'll start a little bit with SummerSlam. I mean, to be honest, there wasn't much to talk about. I'm trying to remember, there had to have been at least like one title change that night, right? No? I don't know, maybe it wasn't that memorable. I mean, I know that Jay and Roman fought, and the one thing that did come out of it was that Jimmy betrays Jay, costs him the match and the title. Roman retains. So it'll probably be like Jimmy versus Jay. Like, dude, listen, if you all don't think that they're going to stretch this out and then they're going to make this like a bloodline four-way, like, this is what WWE does every time. They drain the shit out of everything. They squeeze it for every fucking last drop. The second they know they have something, all of a sudden, it's not, how do we tell a good story? It's, how do we keep this story going for as long as humanly possible? Like, this story should have ended at Mania. Like, I'm going to say this every week until Roman finally drops the belt and we start to see what the WWE looks like without Roman Reigns as their champion. It's been it'll be 4 years next year. 4 years of Roman as champ. 4 years that the only person who's pinned or submitted him has been Jey Uso. 4 fucking years. That's not long-term fucking storytelling, all right? Not when like a title's involved. It held up the entire flow of things. I mean, there was even reports of Sheamus showing his frustration, and Drew. They were all like, when was it my time? I mean, like, man, listen, Vince doesn't know how to build new stars. He's going to do the Cena treatment. He's going to make a guy champion and keep a guy champion for forever. And everyone else is just kind of a guy, but he's never going to be the guy. Vince doesn't understand that. He is doing an ensemble show. And if you're not making everyone on television relevant, then you don't have people watching all of your television. And in terms of story, it's usually always ends up being, I'm going for such and such title. I or we going for such and such title or titles. You know, when you take that away from guys who aren't tag team wrestlers, like, this is why they keep on making, and this is also a theory I have with AEW. This is the reason why I think of that they have guys who aren't tag teams become tag teams. Because, you know what I mean? Like, it just puts more, it just allows for more individuals to hold titles. You know, but tag team belts aren't supposed to be for individuals. They're supposed to be for tag teams. So as much as I love, you know, like Better Than You, Baby, I don't want to see them hold tag team gold. You know? I don't. As much as I liked Juice Robinson and Jay White, I don't want them to hold tag team gold. Those guys are singles wrestlers. But at this point in time, you're just sacrificing your other tag teams to showcase individual wrestlers. And I think they do that. I mean, the entire women's tag team division in the WWE is a perfect example of that. Maybe with the exception, no, it's a perfect example of that. All these women were singles wrestlers. There's not a single women's tag team that's come in that they were already marketed as a tag team, that they were signed as a tag team. Now, you could say that those twins that they signed are it. They're not it. They're not wrestlers. They're athletes, but they're not professional wrestlers. So even though they're probably going to be brought up as a tag team, they're not a tag team. They're not a tag team. They're two women that they're now just building to become a tag team. Like, there's no female tag teams out there? If there's not, get rid of the fucking division. I mean, Sonya Deville is injured. They can't defend the belts. It's just ridiculous. Those belts are useless. They're not necessary. But there's so much outcry for, women to have television time. They just thought of the tag team belts, and then they just put random women together and put them on TV and have them fight meaningless fights for a meaningless belt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you really doing them a favor? You know what I mean? Are you really doing them a favor? Are you doing the tag team belts a favor in any division, men's or women's, if you're having just two singles wrestlers always go for them? Now, mind you, do I think that those don't produce good matches? No, I don't think that at all. Juice Robinson and Jay White versus FTR in the 4 falls that they went to, one in the week before their 2 out of 3 falls match, and then the other one was a 2 out of 3 falls. Oh, it was 3 falls then, actually. Like, they had a great match. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure that Adam Cole and MJF are going to have a good match with Aussie Open. Though I will say that I thought the match that they had with FTR, I expected it to be better. But that Jay White Juice Robinson match just blows that out of the fucking water. That might be tag team match of the year. I mean, granted, there's a lot of pay-per-views between then and now. So, and another thing. The tag team division in the WWE, who are the tag team champions? Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They didn't come up as a tag team. Actually, Sami came up as Sami was on the singles run for the NXT title when Kevin Owens debuted. And on his debut night, he attacked Sami Zayn. So they were already 2 singles guys. You know what I mean? Like, just put tag team titles on tag teams. I don't understand why that's so hard. Just put tag team titles on tag teams already. But, this is just a symptom of just bad booking decisions. Now, I'm not saying that Triple H or Tony Khan are necessarily bad bookers. I just don't think they're perfect ones. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, why wouldn't I accept as a consumer, what's wrong with wanting perfection? Regardless of it, that it's impossible, almost impossible. I should still want that, right? I want all my guys to be booked properly. I want all the storylines. I want the 2 hours that I watch a Dynamite, every single minute of that action on screen to be worth my time. I don't think that's much to ask. If you want 2 hours of my time, then make 2 hours of my time worth my time. Because I could easily do a gajillion other things. We got Process in the chat asking, should WWE split the tag team belts into 2 separate divisions? Yeah, absolutely. Because that's another thing. This is the Roman effect. You're clogging the lot. You're clogging the creative tunnel. You're clogging the creative river. You know what I mean? Like, you have 2 shows. Just put one belt on one show, one belt on the other. Put the Raw belts in Raw, the SmackDown belts on SmackDown. They're still fucking called the Raw and SmackDown belts. You know what I mean? They're still red and blue, for Christ's sake. They haven't even combined it into one belt yet. You know what that means? We're going to hold on to it, and then one day when we really don't know what else to do anymore, we're just going to split them up. Like, I'm not an idiot, Like, don't book like I'm some sort of moron. All right? I know exactly what's going on. So, just cut the shit. Like, this is why, it's hard to care about some of these belts. Right now, some of the, one of the best booked title runs right now, Orange fucking Cassidy. How the fuck did that happen? Out of everybody right now, Orange Cassidy right now, his title reign has been fucking bananas. Now, they booked it very cleverly, and technically, you really can't book like this again for quite some time for anybody. So whoever OC drops the belt to, it's going to be a totally different title reign. I think that every single title reign of the international champion should be a guy who's a workhorse and showcases the belt all the time and has matches like Orange Cassidy has had. But it can't be under the same circumstances, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could make it that the story of the title is if you have this belt, you're going to be fucking put through a gauntlet. And you're going to wrestle anybody, anytime, every week. If you're not challenged, you have to challenge. You know what I mean? That's, I think, a cool stipulation for the international title. And Orange Cassidy's done that. either he has challenged or he has been challenged. But I don't feel like there's been many matches where they're just like, and here's a match for Orange Cassidy. You know what I mean? It's always started or ended with a challenge. And he was putting his body through hell. That's been the story of his title, his title reign. He was wrestling with a bad hand. He was wrestling with a bad back. He was wrestling with a bad neck. He was wrestling with a bad this and a bad that. And he kept on fighting, kept on winning. Like, that makes the belt special. Whenever Orange Cassidy defends the belt, I'm like, holy shit, I might actually see a pretty good match. And also, they booked the matches like he's almost fucking about to lose. Like, the way that the matches are produced are fantastic. His matches have been great. Orange Cassidy has had a killer fucking reign. Speaking of, this reminds me. On Monday Night Raw, Chad Gable was a part of a four-way, and he wins it. He's gonna be the one to challenge Gunther for the IC title. Now, Alpha Academy. Otis was a guy who was in a tag team, and then they got rid of his tag team partner. Gable was a guy who was in the tag team, and his tag team partner got injured and had to retire. Okay? So they are two tag team wrestlers. They just never came up together as a tag team. Now, Gable's been even quoted recently to say that he's been dying for a singles run. You want to know why? Because the guy's a very capable athlete and a very, very capable pro wrestler and a very capable, the sports entertainment. You know what I mean? This match that he's going to have with Gunther is going to rule. All right? He went 5 minutes with Gunther last week or whatever, so, fine, but he didn't beat him, so whatever. He just went to 5 minutes. Now, eventually, someone has to beat Gunther for that IC belt. Now, in my humble opinion, I think that Sheamus should be the guy. They made the story out there. It's the only belt that he hasn't won. He's over with the Brawling Brutes. He has great matches. And I feel like Sheamus and Gunther could put on a better match, I think, than Chad Gable and Gunther. That is not to say that Chad Gable and Gunther would be a bad match. It would be an absolutely incredible match. But just Sheamus is just so big and so hard-hitting, and it just works so well with a guy of Gunther's size. And I just feel like that's the guy who should beat him. I think Chad Gable, I think this match is going to happen on Raw, and I would be shocked if they did an IC title change on Raw after the run that Gunther's had. I feel like if he drops the belt, it would be at a major pay-per-view, not a PLE. I'm talking about one of the big 4 or 5 if you count Money in the Bank. So Process wants to know, will Chad Gable dethrone Gunther? I don't think so. I'm not saying that it would be cool if he did, because it would be awesome. But he's not actually a singles star. He's still part of Alpha Academy. I think that Alpha Academy should have a tag title run. They're very over. I think them as a tag team should have a run more than Gable a singles run. Because I think that, not to say that Gable should have a singles run, because I do still think that he does. I just don't think with the way things are being booked in the WWE right now, it's the right time, storytelling-wise. I think that the road is set for Sheamus. I think Sheamus should take it at the next major pay-per-view. I mean, Gunther's had it for a while. Now, being that he's had it for a while, I feel like big title changes need to happen at one of 3 pay-per-views: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, or SummerSlam. I don't count Survivor Series as a major pay-per-view, even though it is kind of if someone asked me what were the big 4, I would say Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and WrestleMania, big 4. But I feel like the importance of Survivor Series has diminished over the course of time. Yes, Josh, I do agree that Gunther should break the all-time record. Yeah. I think that before he drops that belt, he should break the record. Definitely. And then it would make whoever wins that belt over big. And I think Sheamus deserves to be. I'm like, hey, listen, it'd be cool if Chad Gable ended up challenging like Sheamus and ended up beating him down the line. That who's not to, I'm not saying that he can't be the next in line, but he could be the next in line. That's pretty much that. That's an all right thing. But like I said, it's still a problem that he's part of a tag team. And I don't think that they have the creative trust in a character such as Otis to make him a singles star. Now, I feel like if you always put him with like a really attractive valet, then I think that it would work out. So I think if you keep him with Maxine Dupree, I mean, hey, what was the biggest Otis was over outside of his time in Heavy Machinery? When he was with Mandy Rose, you know? You put him alongside another like blonde bombshell like Mandy Rose was, and that could definitely keep him as a relevant single star, because it would be a good, I guess like you could say, garnish as a heel, because she could always be the one helping him win and being an asshole and all that kind of stuff. And then you could have it great as a face because she's always cheering him on in like the Miss Elizabeth kind of mode. So I do think that there's a way to break up Alpha Academy. And then listen, you could always put them back together. You know what I mean? Like Chad is like, listen, I'm going on my own as a single star, but you know, you're my greatest student, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be fine on your own. Now you have a new student. You have your own student, and it's Maxine, and you're going to go and do great things. And thank you. And that's it. You know, you could totally do that. Yeah. You know what it is, Josh? It's that Survivor Series. I feel like it's almost become less important than Money in the Bank, because Money in the Bank has real stakes. Like there's no actual stakes to Survivor Series anymore. I mean, an argument could be made that the winning team, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, the winner assures that side gets number 30. You know? It's like how it is with the All-Star game for baseball. Like the winner of the All-Star team, like that side, no matter who they are, they're going to get home field advantage. You know what I mean? So it's like the AL and the NL. It's not a specific team. It's not a specific conference. It's the overall league. So if you're going to split Raw and SmackDown into like two big leagues, like that's what you could do. Hey, if someone from Raw is a part of the Royal, you know, like there's going to be someone from Raw who's going to be able to get the number 30. And then what you could do is, let's say, for example, Raw wins Survivor Series, right? Then you could do you could even do a tournament for who's going to get number 30 for that brand. So that way there's always some sort of cool number 30 tournament on either Raw or SmackDown any given year. Because you know that they love tournaments. Tournaments are a great way to put random guys together and tell stories that haven't been told in the bubble of a tournament. That's why Tony does it so much. That's why when you don't know what to do with a division, you hold a tournament. Because then you try and put on good matches, engage the crowd, and showcase guys based on crowd reaction. That's what I would do. That's 100% what I would do. So I think that that's what should be done. If you want to increase the importance of Survivor Series, say like, this is the year the winning team will have the opportunity to represent number 30 at the Royal Rumble, and the losing team, someone has to be like, and someone is part of like number 1. You know what I mean? Or something like that. You know? Like someone from Raw, and then like that could be just like a punishment that the GM doles out. He's like, hey man, you know, like it could be a heel that's like being annoying about not being in the Rumble. And he's like, oh, you know what? You could be in the Rumble. You could take our number 1 spot. Boom. There you go. Stakes for the winner, stakes for the loser. Winning side gets number 30 at the Rumble. Losing side gets number 1 at the Rumble. The winning side, number 30, you hold a tournament to see who gets the most advantageous spot in the Rumble. Number 30. That's it. You hold a cool tournament. It even could tell stories that could lead into the Rumble. It could even tell stories that have matches for the undercard of the Rumble. Come on. I mean, I'm giving you guys free ideas, you know? Pay me. Pay me. AEW, WWE, pay me. I will book your programming, and I will book it not like a fucking idiot. All right? How many people online, they're like, all they do is book title wins. And then what? You don't book reigns. I book stories. I book title wins. I book title reigns. I even book building title contenders. That's the kind of mind you need. All right? 6 figures, travel expenses, stock in the company, full benefits. That's the offer. That's what I want. That's what I want. And listen, I could talk about the bullshit that was going on social media about AEW and the women's division. I'm not gonna. I don't give a fuck. And it doesn't deserve a platform on my. It doesn't deserve a spot on my platform. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. Process. Question for the pod: could an NXT call up dethrone Gunther? No, I don't think so. I think it's gonna be a well-established guy that's already in the product, unless there's a guy that I'm telling you that Vince or Triple H is like, we're pushing this guy to the fucking moon. You know? But I don't think that guy's... I'm looking at the NXT roster. I don't see that guy. Oh, I mean... All right, listen. All right, Josh, you have a good point. I may not see that guy, but Braun Breaker is a guy that they might see. But really... Braun Breaker is going to be the guy to beat the guy who is the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. I don't know. I just don't see it. I think Braun Breaker is going to be a guy. I don't know how they're going to bring him up, but I don't know. He's coming up eventually. Let's see. The winners of Survivor Series, that team gets 20. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, the winners of that team. All right, so Josh of the Chest says the winners of Survivor Series, that team gets numbers 26 through 30. Those spots are either randomly drawn or you have an elimination match. Oh, that's fucking perfect. That's fucking perfect. You do an elimination style match between those 5 guys. The winner of that elimination style match gets number 30 and it just goes through. So the first person to get eliminated will get 26. That is a great fucking idea. That gives relevance to Survivor Series, because then that becomes a prelude to the Royal Rumble, which is a prelude to WrestleMania. That, I think, is a fantastic idea. Fantastic idea. I mean, if you're going to pick anybody from NXT, then sure. I would say, yeah, and then you could have the same match for the other side and do it in adverse. The first man who gets eliminated in that fatal 5-way or whatever is number 30, and then you keep on going, and they're just further and further away. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna talk about all the guys in NXT, then I would say yeah, probably Braun Breaker, I guess. I don't really watch NXT. I stopped right before Braun Breaker got in. You know, I that was the day 1 or whatever for NXT when they made it all colorful and it looked like a fucking aneurysm. All right, let's go through Dynamite. Show starts off with a Jericho Appreciation Society mandatory meeting. Obviously, this is all leading towards Jericho's will he, won't he to join the Don Callis family. I think I totally spilled water on myself on live. Yep, I sure did. I forgot how much I filled that thing. Anywho. This is obviously going toward leaning towards Jericho's will he, won't he of joining the Jericho Appreciation Society. After this whole thing happened, Renee comes at him in the locker room, and Don Callis is there, and Jericho goes, I made my decision. We're going to do it next week on Dynamite. So, that's what's going to happen next week. We're going to find out the decision, whether or not Jericho does or doesn't join the Don Callis family. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't do either and leaves television for a while, which I honestly think Chris Jericho needs to leave. Definitely needs to leave television for a while. There's definitely other people that could use that television time. They could write other stories for other people. Jericho's one of the great. He's one of my top favorite wrestlers of all time. Like like he's up there with like in terms of like the like old school guys like him and Angle are like top of the heap for me. Top of the heap. On HBK, definitely. So, like, yeah, I just feel like he's been on TV for a while. He's almost on TV every week, but he's the demo god. Obviously, they put him on TV to keep ratings. No Jericho, maybe the ratings dip. So, but I'm like, come on, man, you got to build someone who could pull in Jericho numbers. I mean, honestly, isn't that the booker's job and the wrestler's job to get themselves in a position where they're over, where they could, assume parts of the card that are needed to tell good stories and to have a good overall show? Yeah. So it's not too much to ask to say, yeah, you should book someone who could bring in the numbers that Chris Jericho does. Now, I don't think he's been demo god for a while, so the criteria is a little bit loose. But I still think that, he needs to be off television. He comes back, reinvents himself, does something new. He's had like 4 different factions. You know what I mean? He's had he's only had 2, right? Inner Circle and the Jericho Appreciation Society. So like it's just faction after faction. Like it's cool. I love Jericho. But get him off television. Basically everyone in the Jericho Appreciation Society, they go down the list and they say how disappointed they are in Jericho. They said Daniel Garcia said he chose Jericho before anyone else. He's changed himself fundamentally. He's done everything that's been asked. Like, why won't he do the same for them? Garcia does his fucking dance and bounces. Jake Hager takes the mic, says that they have a lot of options, and he's been with Jericho for a while, and they made a lot of money, and he really liked this hat, and he doesn't like Jericho, so he walked off. Jericho said to basically everyone else that they had to admit that they were bigger stars since they joined the JAS. Tay Conti said she used to be proud, but not any longer. I'm just like, I don't even know why she's on fucking television, man. Let alone having a mic in her hand. Like, her promo skills, like, it's not her fault. You know what I mean? But, like, if you're going to be on television, like, you just need to be, like, this is what I'm saying. I don't owe any of these wrestlers any favors. If I don't feel like they're worth watching, I'll fucking skip their segment. And if enough of that is going on, I just won't watch the show. So I don't understand why Tay Conti needed to be there. She has no good promo skills. She's pregnant. Like, she didn't need to be on television. Sammy could have spoke for the both of them, so I didn't have to hear this wretched promo from her. Same thing with Anna Jay. Anna Jay is literally, and it's ironic that they're dating, she's the female Jungle Boy. She doesn't have any charisma, and she's just, like, serviceable as a pro wrestler. Like, that's, like, get rid of the Jericho Appreciation Society, because then that way that a lot of these people could go on their singles runs and pretty much be on, like, Rampage or something like that. You know what I mean? Because, like, I just don't want to see them on Dynamite or on Collision. I think that 2.0 needs to be a tag team again. And they need to start having some awesome matches because they're a great tag team. 2.0 needs to start being a tag team again. That's a tag team. That's a tag team. These guys are a tag team. So let's get them into some tag team matches and maybe start contending for some tag team titles. Do I think they're going to be beating FTR anytime soon? No. But it would not be bad to build them up, have a great feud. They could all cut good promos. FTR has amazing matches. You don't think that they would have a great match with 2.0? Do you not have any faith in your champions? You know what I mean? It would be great. It would be perfect. So, and Jay says that she's going to be selfish tonight. It's going to be about the AEW women's title. It's not going to be about Jericho. Angelo Parker says he loves being a sports entertainer. He did everything he could to make Jericho proud. And Jericho's giving him nothing. They have no tag team title shots, no wins to speak of, absolutely nothing. Matt Menard said that Jericho was his childhood hero. When he got his first paycheck as a teenager, the first thing he bought was a Chris Jericho t-shirt. He said when his wife was 8 months pregnant, Jericho heard his story and gave him a job. And then he mentioned guys. He's like, guys like Eddie Kingston and Kevin Owens. Now he knows why those guys hate Jericho's guts, and then he leaves. That leaves Sammy Guevara. He said that he's not going to just like walk out on Jericho. I mean, he did walk out on Jericho eventually, but he basically said, "Hey, listen, man. He doesn't think that the level of devotion that he gives to Jericho is something that Jericho would reciprocate." So he walked out. Again, like I said, Jericho and Callis and Renee have a segment in the back. Jericho's going to let us know what's going to go on with the Jericho Appreciation Society next week. Young Bucks versus the Hardys. Young Bucks win. They had a good match. A solid match with the Hardys. I mean, the Hardys need to retire. I'm sorry. I love the Hardys, but they just look in pain. Whenever I see them, they just look like they're hurting all the time. They've made enough money. They could be producers. They could help book the tag team division. I'm not saying that they should retire and just like go home and sit on a rocking chair and be old men and not be a part of the business. I still think their minds have much to offer in the business, especially the fact that Matt and Jeff were a part of those ultimate deletion things. They could do a lot of great. They could be ones that could really help out if they do any sort of cinematic matches. You know what I mean? So I do think there's a place for the Hardys in the business. I do think there's a place for the Hardys in AEW, but I think their bodies need to retire, not their minds. I'm sorry. Obviously, the Bucks needed to have a match because they had to answer the call. One of the big things that happened on Collision, outside of Ricky Starks not winning the real world championship, and also Hikaru Shida actually won the women's world title that night, right? That didn't happen last Dynamite. That happened on Collision. It did happen on Collision. So, outside of those major things, FTR challenged the Young Bucks for Wembley for the titles, the rubber match. They each have a win apiece against each other. Now the all-in card starts to take form. MJF, Adam Cole for the AEW World title is the main event. Young Bucks versus FTR for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And there's another match which I'll mention as we go through the pod. What was the other one? What the fuck was the other one? Am I missing one? Oh no, that's really it, right? Yeah. It's MJF and Adam Cole. And CM Punk versus Samoa Joe at Wembley. Samoa Joe called him out. One more match. He said that the roll-up, it shouldn't end that way. So, that's the match. So, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. That's a match that's happening. So, the all-in card is finally starting to take shape. So far, it's looking to be a great card. But where's Will Ospreay, man? I mean, I know right now the G1 is going on, but I mean, seriously? We're not going to get a Will Ospreay? We're not going to get a major English star wrestling at All In Wembley? No home countrymen? I mean, Aussie Open they're Aussies. That's not London. That's not the UK. That's not England. So, I'm curious. Where does Will Ospreay fit in all this? Is he going to be booked for All In? And All Out is 7 days later. How are we doing this, people? I mean, people have probably already bought tickets for All Out. Like, what the fuck? There's no card. There's not even a finished card for All In. So I'm very curious to see what's going on. We're going to have a very interesting next couple of weeks. They have 2 major shows to book for. Very quickly followed 3 weeks later by... I have to request off for that. I totally forgot. Anywho, there's Grand Slam. So that's another big Dynamite that you have to book. So Actually, I think it'd be kind of cool if they booked Dynamite and Collision for the same night, back to back. I think that'd be pretty cool. So tag team match is official. Blackpool they show a video package of Adam Cole and MGF at a trampoline park, beating the crap out of kids, playing dodgeball. So that's another little haha buddy comedy thing that they're doing. Blackpool Combat Club are taking the parking lot brawl on Rampage, actually, guys. That was actually really good. I don't normally watch Rampage, but I wanted to just check out the parking lot brawl, and I was not disappointed. So definitely Rampage, check it out. Parking lot brawl. In which the Blackpool Combat Club won. They destroyed Sue's van. So I'm assuming Best Friends are gonna get vengeance at a certain point. They beat the crap out of the entire Best Friends. Orange Cassidy, everybody. I would not be surprised if it was Moxley versus Orange Cassidy at All In. That would be actually pretty cool. So Blackpool Combat Club, they basically also took credit for the fact that Pac is injured, which he's actually injured. He's going to be out for a while, which is unfortunate. He was out for like 6 months, comes back, gets injured, now he's gone again. Tough break for Pac, honestly. Jack Perry defeats Rob Van Dam in an FTW rules match. RVD did his thing. It was the greatest hits of RVD. And then because it was FTW rules, there was a whole bunch of tomfoolery going around, and Jungle Boy won the match, which we all knew. I have a feeling that maybe Hook will be off television for a while, and he'll be the one to reclaim the FTW title. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, but that match happened. I know I was freaking out last week because I thought it was going to be at All In. Thank God it's not. It happened. It's done. The end. Let's see here. So MJF and Adam Cole come out. MJF talks about how we should ignore the fact that he he said the Midwest was mid. He says the footage has been heavily doctored and it's fake. He says his favorite place in the world is the U.S. And he said if he was lying, maybe he's struck down by God. And then he says it and he winces and he didn't get struck down by God and he cheered and the crowd popped. I thought that was pretty funny. Cole says they're gonna make history at All In. In a match he'll beat MJF in. MJF cuts him off and wants to know if he wants to do a promo battle. Talks about how Cole is he's so skinny and white. If this was the 80s, Hogan would have snorted him. He called him a noodle arm, bobblehead, and then Cole cut him off. He said he didn't want to do a promo battle. But he said that outside of the AEW title, the one belt that he wants to win is the ROH tag team titles. Why? Why is this happening? Why do they need to have 2 matches at All In? Why do they need to challenge for the ROH tag team titles? It was enough that they were having the match. Fuck. I don't get it, man. There's other tag teams that could fight for that tag team belt. Why is it used as a storyline prop? I'm not in agreement with this. Roderick Strong comes out. He's all pissed off. He's saying, why the hell aren't you and I going for the ROH tag team belts? I'm an ROH legend. You and I are actually best friends. But MJF decides to verbally crucify Roderick Strong. Said he wants Roderick Strong to get in his car, go home, run up the stairs, cry into his Hello Kitty pillow, and listen to Taylor Swift so he could shake it off like a bland bitch. The crowd actually chanted "Shake It Off." I'm living in fucking bizarre world. Strong says if you were gonna allow MJF to talk to me like that, then maybe the Kingdom was right about you. Now the Kingdom has approached Roderick Strong, who's obviously upset and knows that MJF is eventually going to betray Adam Cole. So now he's feeling betrayed, and the Kingdom are looking to get Roddy as a third guy, I guess. So Cole got pissed off because Kingdom came out. They embraced Roddy. They walked him out. Cole got pissed off, shoved MJF, got in his face, yelled at him, stopped, calmed himself, profusely apologized. MJF and Cole hugged it out. And there you go. So they're going to be challenging for the ROH tag team titles against Aussie Open at 0 Hour at All In. And I don't know why. Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli defeat the Lucha Brothers in a tag match. These guys have been having great tag matches. I can only assume that my assumption is that FTR is going to beat the Bucks at Wembley. And then I think they are going to immediately have a feud with Claudio and Moxley. Have these guys fought before for the tag team belts? I don't think so, but like maybe. But that's what I feel is about to happen. That's what I think this is leading towards. Great match. Kenny Omega's backstage. Alex Marvez approaches him, talks to him about the Young Bucks and FTR All In. Omega says he's supposed to be having a sit down with JR to discuss his future, plans for All In. Marvez tried to get more information out of Kenny. Kenny wouldn't give it. So next week you find out Kenny Omega's plans for All In. Mogul Embassy gets to the ring. Prince Nana shit on everybody. Swerve Strickland talks about how he, Fox, and Nana went to the Buddy Wayne Academy in Seattle and beat the shit out of Nick Wayne to prove a point. Fox immediately called out Darby. Darby came out. Darby said that Fox was a liar, that he did call him, but AR wouldn't return his phone calls. And basically, it was at to a point where Darby had to walk away because it just looked like the only person who was going to save AR Fox was AR Fox. So he was like, you know what? It looks like you got a group of friends. I got some friends too. Sting returns, puts the bat in Swerve's face, points at All In, points to the All In sign in the rafters. So is it going to be Darby and Sting? Is it going to be, I don't know. Is it going to be like a 6-man tag? You can have Nick Wayne, Darby Allin, and Sting versus, I guess you could do Swerve, AR, and like one other guy. You could do that, maybe. You know? I mean, usually they always have a 6-man tag on there because they want to get as many faces out there as possible. I mean, mad people get paydays for that kind of shit. So, that's what I think. It's just another example. I mean, it's the same way that they're booking the women's world title. They're going to do a fatal 4-way with some baloney about how it's a tradition that they've done fatal 4-ways for the women's belt. So, yeah, they're going to have that one match. I don't think we're going to see the TBS title defended. I think it's just going to be the women's title. And this is a way to get multiple women on the same show with one match. So there you go. They're going to do a tournament to decide the 4. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. It's going to be Sting and Darby Allin versus Strickland and AR Fox in a coffin match in London. So there you go. No Nick Wayne. No triple threat. Hikaru Shida defeats Anna Jay to retain the title. That match happened. Hikaru Shida wins. No way in fuck was Anna Jay going to win. Rampage, Saraya versus Sky Blue, with the winner advancing to the women's title All In 4-way. Darby Allin takes on Brian Cage. Orange Cassidy defends the international title against Johnny TV, formerly Johnny Mundo, formerly Johnny Impact, formerly Johnny Nitro, formerly John Morrison. AEW Collision. House of Black is going to defend the AEW Trios titles against CM Punk and FTR. That should be an interesting match. I don't think CM FTR is going to win and beat House of Black, but I'm very interested to see as to how that match is booked. And if I'm correct and CM FTR is going to lose, how they're actually going to book them to actually lose. Very interested to see what happens. Guys, that's it for tonight. Saturday, honestly, SummerSlam went so long that by the time that ended, like, there was no way I could do the podcast with you guys. It ended at like midnight. So I watched SummerSlam and I watched Collision. And ended up working out that the Punk match happened during the Ronda Rousey match, so I totally switched channels and watched the CM Punk match. It was just too much for the night, and I ended up getting the which was a waste of my time, the Jake Paul and Nate Diaz fight. Fucking waste of time. Logan Paul beat Ricochet at SummerSlam, so that happened. Ricochet, I mean, of course, Ricochet was going to lose. Anyway, guys, I will see you Saturday night, 10 p.m. on the podcast. We talk about Collision, we talk about SmackDown, and possibly more matches for All In. Take care, guys.